All right, now we're moving on to 10.7, special segments within a circle. Chord segment you've used before. Don't forget a chord is that it's a line with two endpoints that touches the circumference of the circle but does not go through the center. The new one you're going to have today is the secant segment. That's basically a chord, but it doesn't stop at the circumference. It goes outside the circle, so it's a line that extends through the circle but going either way. And then the other two obviously are part of it. An external one is a secant that will be outside but will meet at a point outside. And then a tangent is a line, don't forget, that touches the circle, that makes right angles with the right angle, with the radius. And here's example one. It's basically cross multiplying, but with a little bit of a twist to it. Here it's the two segments of the chord where they intersect multiplied by each other equals the other. So as you can see from diagram, it's 5 times 12 equals 10 times x. You solve for x if that's what its question's asking you for, which in example 1 it is. If it's asking you for something else, especially in B when you've got algebra to sort out, then make sure if it asks you for the length, say of P and K, then make sure you plug it back into PK, which is 8 plus 1. It will give you an answer of 9. So make sure you read the question before you answer it completely. All right, I'm going to do question number 2 for you here. And as you know, you've got x plus 3. And put it in parentheses because you're going to multiply that by x plus 4. And that's going to equal x and x plus 9. All right, and then when you factor this, don't forget this is FOIL. That's going to give you x squared plus 7x plus 12, and that equals x squared plus 9x. It looks like a quadratic, but if you look at what happens, the x squareds cancel out. The 7x will cancel over here to 2x. So then you've got 2x equals 12, so x equals 6. Okay, and it's asking you to find x. So even though it looks like a quadratic, it's not going to turn up like a quadratic. Okay. All right, these are the more difficult ones that you're going to get. Obviously you've got part of a circle. I mean, don't forget, if you look at the diagram, the rainbow would then make a complete circle if it did go all the way around. And again, read the question. All right, what is the radius? So the first thing you've got to do is find the diameter and then obviously halve your answer. Well, look at what you've got. Okay, 2.5 times 2.5 or 2.5 squared equals 0.7, and BE, just put it as an X if you want, and then that will give you 8.9. Okay, so that's the distance from B to E, but it's not the diameter. The diameter is the extra bit that's added it on. So it's still the same basic working, but you've got to do a little bit of adding and subtracting here. So you find out what the BE is by doing your cross multiplying. That will give you what the length of the sector is, but not the whole diameter. Add it onto the diameter, and then don't forget the question's asking for the radius, so you've got to divide it by 2. So you have a look at number 6. Basically, don't forget you've got your circle with your segment, and each of these are 10. And you've got this sector down here, you know this is 6, and this is going to be x. All right, and it's asking you what is the circumference of the pottery. So don't forget your circumference equals pi d, because you're going to find the diameter first. All right, because it tells you it lies on the diameter. So you've got 10 squared, which is your 10 times your 10, and that equals 6 plus x. Sorry, it's 6 times x. So 100 equals 6x. So x is going to be whatever 100 is divided by 6. So that's going to give you 16.6, it's 16 2/3, so keep it going at 6.66 because you're rounding, and wait till you round until the end. Okay, so that is just the distance of x, so it's not the diameter. You've still got to add on to that the 6, so your actual diameter is equal to 22.6, and now you multiply it, so you plug it into here, so 22 times 22.6 times by pi, and you will get an answer of 71.2. And it's centimeters and it's length, so just leave it at that. All right, so 71.2 is to the nearest, in fact it's 20 to the nearest hundredth. All right, so now we're going to do section 2, where your two secants meet at a point. Okay, so now it's a little bit different to what you've got. All right, so you're still going to be multiplying two sectors. Well, your two sectors is A and B, and your other sector is whatever AC is. So it's AB times AC, and similarly on the other one it's AD times AE. All right, so make sure that it's whatever is outside multiplied by the whole length equals whatever is on the outside multiplied by the whole length. And that changes when you've actually got a single point and it makes a tangent. All right, this time it's the tangent squared equals the length outside multiplied by the whole length. So be careful, two different times when they're outside the circle. And as you can see from example 3, okay, it's the 8 times the whole thing, which is 8 plus x. So 8 times 8 plus x. And the 6 is on the outside, so it's 6 times the whole length, which in this case is 10 plus 6, which is 16. Okay, you're going to finish up with a variable, a simple algebraic equation, solve for x, and if that's all it's asking you, that's all it's asking you. You don't need to plug it in. And then you get example 4 where your variable is on the outside. So if you have a look, this time it's going to be x squared, which is your tangent, PQ. And this time it's x times the whole length. Well, what happens is you finish up with a quadratic. Okay. First and foremost, before you start doing the quadratic formula, always see if you can factor it first. All right, is the two numbers multiplied together make 64 with a difference of 7? Well, in this case the answer is no, so you have to use the quadratic formula. You come down to solving it, you should have a plus and a minus. Well, you cannot have a minus distance, a negative distance, so you use the 5.2. So let's have a look at question number 6. All right, this is where they cross on the inside of the circle. So it's just 12 times 5, and that equals 6 times x. All right, so 60 equals 6x, so x is going to equal 10. And that's all it's asking you for, but it does say to the nearest tenth. So if you get any questions to the, to a decimal, make sure you answer it correctly. So let's have a look at number 10. All right, it's everything on the outside multiplied by the whole length. So you've got 4 times the 8 plus 4 is going to be 12, and that equals 3 times, and the whole length is going to be 3 plus x. So 48 equals 9 plus 3x. Subtract 9 from both sides, so 39 equals 3x, so x is going to equal 13. Alright, so let's have a look at number 12. SR is the tangent, so you're going to have 9 squared, and this is going to be whatever is on the outside, which is 5 times whatever the whole length is, which is 5 plus x. Alright, let's simplify it. 9 squared is 81, and then distribute, so 5 times 5 is 25 plus 5x. Okay, subtract 25 from both sides, so that's 56 equals 5x.